My name is Alice, and it all started when me and my family moved from our hometown to Berlin. Don't cry about your friends, honey. You're going to school tomorrow, and you'll have new amazing friends, my mother said. But how can she be so confident? How can she easily say that when she doesn't have to deal with it herself? It was so hard at the beginning. I felt so alone because everyone had their own group, and they seemed so closed off. It had been like this for a year now, me sitting by myself, reading my books, and going for walks alone. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just don't enjoy being alone because it pulls me back down. Then it all changed. When I went to high school, I met this girl in my class called Lily and a friend of hers called Theo. We would hang out a lot together, like going to cinemas and concerts. We had a lot in common, and we even liked the same books. I was thrilled. Maybe now I'll finally be happy, I thought to myself, but I wasn't. I didn't know why, but I was even more afraid to talk to them because I thought, would they stop being friends with me? Would they think that I'm crazy? But I eventually did. It was 2 months after my 17th birthday. I was so nervous to open up to them. I always pretended like it was okay, so I was sure they didn't think that I would have this kind of problem. When I told them about it, they smiled. "Don't worry, we're gonna go through this together. That's what friends are for, right?" Theo said. "But I think you should really speak to someone and get professional help. They will definitely be able to help you." "A therapist? Aw, poor Alice," Lily continued. Lily started hugging me, saying she would go there with me if I'm afraid to do it alone. I wasn't afraid of the therapist, but I was terrified to talk to my parents about it. I didn't know how they were going to take it, and I knew I wouldn't go there without their permission. 2 weeks later, we were having dinner, and I decided to tell them about it. Suddenly, both of them went silent. "No, it's gonna be all right. We support your decision," my father said. But just right after that, my mother said something. "Therapy is for weak people, and we didn't raise you to be weak." And then the boot is on the other foot. "We're giving you money so you could spend them on things that are worth it, and not wasting it on something that you can get over by yourself," my father added. At that moment, I felt like everything came crashing down. I was lost. Hearing all of that, I was speechless. I ran back to my room and cried for I don't know how long until I fell asleep without even realizing it. And not to my surprise, the morning after, my parents didn't bring it up. And they didn't even ask how I was. They acted as if nothing happened the night before. I went to school and told my friends about it. "How can they do this to you? You are their daughter. They are supposed to help you get through it." A week later, Theo came up with this not-so-good idea. "You are going to a therapist with or without their permission." Lily agreed with him and said, "I tell them you're hanging out at my place whenever you have to go." I was so scared. What am I gonna do if my parents find out? I talked to myself. As scared as I was, I decided to go through with it. I went to the therapist, hoping they could make me feel better. I couldn't do it anymore. I really, really needed help. My therapist, Mrs. Weber, was the best person whom I would talk to about my issues without having to be afraid that I'll be judged or ignored. I would go to her every Saturday. Everything was going smoothly from then on until 2 months later. My parents suspected me going out every Saturday, and plus my final exams were approaching. They told me that I must stay at home and prepare myself for my exams, so I stopped going to Mrs. Weber. Now that my final exams were over, my parents wanted to spend the summer back in our hometown, but I refused to join them and said that I was going to stay at home. I went back to Mrs. Weber throughout the summer, and after a while, I was able to slowly stand back up on my feet. It was the first time in a while that I felt a little happier. As summer went on, this tall and handsome guy asked me out. His name was Jacob. We both didn't have summer school, so he would come hang out with me and my friends. We hit it off completely and had so much fun together. We talked about everything except for that I never told him about my illness. I always wanted to tell him, but how do I even start? One day, Jacob was secretly planning a surprise dinner for me, but the fact that I never told him about my illness set me back. I felt so down. So I told him that it was not a good day for us to meet up. and asked him to trust me and that I would talk to him when I was ready. Summer was nearly over and my parents came back. I wasn't ready to confront them, nor Jacob. I was making even more excuses so I could avoid seeing him. But it all came out when my parents found my medical records in my room. They were so disappointed. They kept comparing me to the daughter of my uncle, Emily, whom they think is perfect. I lost it. I know you want me to be perfect like Emily, but guess what? I'm not her. Maybe your life would have been better without me. After that, my mother began to cry really hard. She rushed to me, hugged me, and said, "Please, not again. Not you." It came through my mind in flashes. Many years ago, I had a brother named Noah, whom passed away when he was 9. I was only 2 years old when it happened, so I hardly remember him. But seeing my mother like that, her tears suddenly calmed me down. We sat down and talked all night. I explained to her that I was unhappy and I really needed help. After a while, she began to understand. She even went with me many times after that, whenever I have my appointments. After figuring it all out with my parents, I thought, I think it's time to finally tell Jacob if we are going to continue seeing each other. He deserved to know. I didn't know how he'd take it. Would he judge me? Is he going to think that I am sick and leave me? When Jacob arrived, I overcame my fear and told him all about it. It was nothing like what I thought at all. He understood me and even supported it that I was getting the help I desperately needed. In the end, our relationship didn't work out though, but we're still friends, and he said he will be there for me when I need him. It was a long journey for me, but hey, now I can confidently say that I am happy and am soon going to be attending my graduation ceremony with all of my amazing friends. When you think you are alone, look around. You will see that there are many people who are there for you, people that support and love you. If you are feeling stressed or terribly lonely and you can't make it go away, professional help is always there for you too. If I can get through it, you can do it too.